Welcome and study with Tanzania Institute of Education.
Every day we use the sum of our knowledge and experience in the world to help us make decisions. The results of which help us to fine-tune future decisions. Corporations use the results of consumer trials to help them decide on how to manufacture and market their products to specific market segments at the most attractive price range to get the most customers at the highest possible profit. Statistics is the branch of mathematics used for analyzing numerical data in order to find a pattern from which we can make informed decisions. Information that is collected for a specific purpose, whether in the form of numbers or descriptions, is called data. You can use statistics to better understand the data or information that you collected, which can then be analysed and interpreted to answer the question you had at the beginning. The study of statistics includes the collection, analysis, presentation, and interpretation of data. This is often called the process of data handling. Let's have a closer look at the process. It's a hot summer's day. Maya is desperately thirsty and really wants a cold soda. She stops by a street vendor to ask for one, but the person doesn't sell any. Maya speaks to the vendor, who tells her that if she can prove that there will be a high demand from a lot of people to buy sodas, then he will start to stock more. The first thing Maya needs to do is collect data. She can do this either by observation, or by using a questionnaire, or by researching information that other people have already collected about this matter. If Maya collects the data herself, this is called primary data. If she uses data in a book or on a website that has been collected by someone else, this is called secondary data. She decides to make a questionnaire listing everything the vendor sells and ask people on the street which they're most interested in. However, she won't be able to ask everyone on the street because there's too many people. She spots some people in the shade under a tree and thinks they could be an easy way for her to finish the survey. But Fidel says this would make her data biased. What he means is if Maya only collects data from people who look like they are thirsty or tired, then it wouldn't be a true reflection of what everyone else on the street wants. To answer her question honestly and get the most accurate representation of the street, Maya would need to collect data from a random sample of people. Maya has all her data now. She'd asked what people would buy from the vendor, as well as rating between 1 and 10 of what they thought of the items the vendor sold, then recorded whether the person being asked was male or female. She now needs to analyse the raw data, the information that has been collected but unchanged in any way, to get the answers she wants. She starts by looking at what people think of what the vendor sells and divides the data into 2 sets. The male and female responses, so she can find the mean, median, and mode for each of these data sets. The mean, median, and mode are called measures of central tendency, which is a formal way of saying that they tell you about the middle or average of a data set. In this case, the central tendency would be the general feeling about what the vendor sells. We'll start with the mean. To find it, we add up all the data points and then divide the answer by 10 because there are 10 data points in each sample. So the mean for the males is 7.5 and for the females 5.5. On to the median, for which we first arrange the data points from smallest to largest, and then find the middle number. If you have an even number of data points and end up with 2 middle numbers, the mean of these numbers is the median. So 8 for the males and 6 for the females. And now the mode. The most common value in the data sets is 8 for the males and 6 for the females. If we look at the mean, median, and modes of data sets, we can compare their general results. From these, we see that, in general, the male respondents seem to be happier with what the vendor sells than the female respondents were. Let's run through some terminology quickly. Maya collected raw data to analyze and find the answers she needs. This is called ungrouped data and is data that has not been classified or subdivided. Let's say she'd asked the respondents to give a rating of between 1 and 100 for each flavour of soda, so she could tell the vendor which flavours he should stock. To get a feel for whether a flavour is popular, unpopular, or somewhere in between, we would need to group the data points together into categories. If she'd asked a number of people to rate cream soda between 1 and 100, and then grouped the results into those who rated a flavour from 1 to 25, 26 to 50, 51 to 75, and 76 to 100, we would then call this data grouped data. The categories 1 to 25, 26 to 50, 51 to 75, and 76 to 100 are called classes. To get accurate results, classes have to be exactly the same size. The size of a class is the difference between the highest and the lowest possible number in the class, and is called the class interval. Here we have 4 classes and a class interval of 24. The number of data points we have within a particular class is called the frequency. If 8 people rated cream soda between 76 and 100, then 8 would be the frequency for this class. The range for a particular class is the difference between the highest and lowest data points. The range for 26 to 50 is low because the ratings in this class are all around the same number. A high range means the ratings are quite different within the class interval, as we can see here for 76 to 100, where the range would be 100 minus 76 equals 24, the maximum for this category. The data we've been discussing so far takes the form of whole numbers and is called discrete data. Discrete data always takes the form of whole numbers. You can't get half of someone to answer a question. Some data, like weight or height, can take on pretty much any value. These 3 friends, for example, are 105.33, 102.1, and 103.199999 centimetres tall. This type of data is called continuous data because it isn't restricted to whole numbers. However, we'd usually group numbers like these into categories to make it easier to work with because slight variations in heights don't matter too much. Right, back to Maya and her soda investigation. The final step for Maya is for her to present and interpret her data. She needs to arrange the data in a way that clearly shows any patterns that are present, then use these to answer the questions that she had at the beginning. Is there a demand for the vendor to stock more sodas? Maya will use graphs to present her data. She can do this using either a bar graph, histogram, or a frequency polygon, and will need to decide which type will work best for the data she has collected. Bar graphs are used to show discrete data or data that has been separated into different categories. Histograms are used to present continuous data or data that has been grouped into class intervals. Frequency polygons are line graphs that are drawn from histograms. They are useful for comparing the patterns in 2 different sets of data. She decides to use a bar graph to present her data because her data is discrete and has been separated into categories. From this graph, we can see that the majority of the respondents indicated that they would like the vendor to sell soda at his stand. So she takes her results to the vendor, who agrees to stock more sodas. When statistical processes are followed correctly, we can answer real-life questions in an honest and insightful way.